What's up, YouTube? Okay, for tonight's video, I am doing my top 10 favorite legendary Pokemon. Sorry about the lack of uploads this week. I have been on holiday, and if my voice is sounding a little bit different at the moment, I'm using a laptop because my power supply actually exploded on my computer. So, yeah, it's not one thing, it's the other. So, I can't really do anything about that. So, I should have that fixed up tomorrow. I think it's coming in the mail. Anyway, this video is on my favorite legendary Pokemon. As I've said, I'm not saying one Pokemon is better than the other. This is all based on my personal opinion, mainly on looks and how I've come across them in the games and stuff. Really, that's I'm basing it on. Okay, first up is Manaphy. Now, Manaphy is a pretty interesting Pokemon. The thing that first liked me, I like it that its eyes, it's got those little like balloons on its eyes. I like that. I guess that sort of, to me, it sort of symbolises as its eyelashes and stuff. And it's also pretty cool because you can get Finone from it, and although that cannot breed, back into Manaphy, which is different. A lot of the, I think that's one of the only legendaries that can do that. Now, you first see Manaphy in Gen 4. If any of you played Pokemon Ranger, that was a pretty cool game. I got my little egg here, and I did that, and that was pretty sweet. I like that. It was good times. Now, next up is number 9. This is Articuno. Now, Articuno is a great design in my opinion, and I really like the color blue, so that helped a lot as well. I like its majestic looking tail. It really does suit it very well. And we first got to see these guys in Gen 1 in Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, Green, all those sort of games where everything really started. And out of all the legendary birds, this was definitely my favourite one. And I've just got a couple little clips here of me playing the game, going through Gen 1 and a few of the other gens as well. So you did actually get it in Gen 1, but a couple of other games did release them and made them available sort of to catch as well, which is good. You could sort of go back, and you didn't have to go back on your other games, or they didn't really make that possible either. So you could catch it in Leaf Red and Fire Red, and of course X and Y. Now, next up is Giratina. Now, this guy was the thing about this guy is pretty. Back in the day, he was pretty difficult to find. He's got that it's that big maze, and you got to jump over these little ledges, I believe. And oh man, it took me ages to find this when I was a kid. I was so stoked when I found him. The great thing I like about Giratina, he definitely symbolises a dragon Pokemon with that look, and those wings are. I really like his design on his wings. Probably the most out of the rest of his body. The cool thing is he can come in another form, being the origin form. I quite like that idea as well. That was cool. So he's sort of like, instead of all his feet are on the ground, he's actually sort of like levitating and flying now, this is great. And all the wings have actually turned into like little spikes coming off it, which is cool. The couple of encounters you have are in the first time is in 4th gen, then you see him again in Distortion World. Right, next up is Suicune. Now, I've always liked Suicune out of all the legendary dogs. Yes, it's blue again. I like my blue colour. But that the purple mane actually works well with it as well. I like that, and especially for me, I've used him in a lot of Wi-Fi battles earlier on when I used to play those sort of tiers and stuff, and I did use him a lot. Great defensive wall, and great stats, and great looks, and I very much enjoyed trying to find it in the earlier games as well, as in Pokemon Silver, because Gen 2 was my very favourite gen out of all of them, and still definitely is. And it brings so much great memories back, first finding Suicune and stuff. Playing my little Game Boy in school, man, those are the good days. Anyway, so next up is Rayquaza. Now, this was a great Pokemon as well. This was a really hard list to do because like all of these Pokemon, the ones that I've chose were so close together. First thing about Rayquaza is he has definitely a great look as well. Big flying snake, and his shiny is absolutely amazing too. Just one tone of black makes it look really amazing too. Probably one of the definitely one of the best legendary shinies out there in my opinion. You first see this guy in 3rd gen at Sky Pillar, and hopefully in the new games you will be seeing him again. I most certainly think so. And I have a little clip of when I was actually playing Pokemon Sapphire, and you can come across him at level 70. That was the first time I actually seen him. I was like, wow, this thing's really strong. The only thing about this, I first saw Rayquaza and I'm like, oh my god, it's got lipstick on. I always remember that. Me and my noob days when I was a kid. Anyway, next Pokemon is the most popular, Mewtwo. So this guy had to make it onto my list because he's one of the very first legendary Pokemon that I actually ever saw. Now, other than the games, the first time I really did see him is in the movie as well, which was quite interesting. And in the games, they actually incorporated you catching him quite a few number of times. As him being one of the original legendary Pokemon, you could catch him in the original games as well. Some of the sprites were quite interesting in these games for sure. But they did actually introduce him in the later games as well, and like Fire Red, Leaf Green, and then you could get him in the latest game, Pokemon X and Y as well. I do very much like the intro they gave there. That was pretty cool. I like that. It was a good sort of little cutscene thing. And he noticed he always does say Mew at the start, which is also interesting. Okay. Anyways, my next favorite Pokemon would have to be Reggie Ice. Now, Reggie Ice doesn't get too much love, and I really think it's an awesome Pokemon out of... I actually really like the Reggies, all of them. They're really great Pokemon. I love the sort of the ice block look and how they've made him into like just a real big ice block. And his fingers, his fingers look like a mini version of him, and I think that's pretty cool. You first do encounter Reggie Ice in 3rd gen as well, and it's pretty cool how you can see like his little eyes. I also like how they on all the Reggies they did like the little eye patterns. That was cool. I very much enjoyed that as well. But yeah, that's about it for Reggie Ice. He's also blue as well. I like my blue. Next up is Reggie Gigas. I told you I like the Reggies, and this guy is no exception. I very much like his design, how they've got those little bushes there on his feet as well. Like, he definitely looks like a big moving island, and I think they did a really good job on him as well as design-wise, and they've got the little eyes on there. He looks great. I think he's very much underappreciated Pokemon as well, in my opinion, and the very first time you actually come across him is in 4th gen as well, and when you can combine all the Reggies together, and you can get him in black and white too, again. Next up is Lugia. Now, since Gen 2 was my favourite gen, and Pokemon Silver was my very first Gen 2 game, it's no surprise that this would make it in such a high position on my list. It has a very great design, and I also, one of the first times I did see it as well in action was in Pokemon 2000, the movie. That was really good, and I think I got like a little Pokemon card as well when I actually went and seen it. That was great. For me, Lugia was one of the hardest Pokemon to catch in any of the games with the Ultra Ball and stuff, especially in Gen 2. It obviously got a bit easier as the sort of gens would go on. Anyway, who's that Pokemon? It's Kyogre. This is my #1 favorite Pokemon. You probably wouldn't have guessed this one. Awesome drawing. Now, I love Kyogre because it's got a great design as well. I really like how they've done the little, if you look at it closely as its flippers, I really like the little circle and line design they've done on its hands. It's great. It's got its 2 little fins, and its tail is really good as well. I like that design, and the colouring just suits it really perfectly, and it looks fucking awesome. I really do like it. The first time I seen this guy was obviously in 3rd gen games as well. I come across him and I was like, wow, this is awesome. And I like, I love the colour blue, as you probably already know. So it just took my took the #1 favourite easily for me. Well, not easily, but it was a very sort of tight competition. I've always used him whenever I do like Ubers battles as well, which isn't too often. I definitely sort of always use him, and I'm very interested to see his new design, the primal designs that they do in the upcoming games. I'm just hoping they do a good job of them. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little video on my opinions. I could have said a lot more, but I wanted to keep it as brief as possible as well, so I didn't bore you with too many facts and stuff. Hopefully tomorrow I will be able to get some more Wi-Fi battles up. I've only sort of just got back and just get my computer and stuff, but I hope I can do that. So stay tuned for them tomorrow. I may try and get a couple up. We will just see. I think that's everything. As usual, guys, thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. Peace out.